Welcome back to Takeout. Tennessee's 7th Congressional District was redrawn, making it more of a Republican stronghold. That happened 3 years ago. But there's a special election today, and Democrats believe they can make up some ground in that race. Latest polling shows a surprisingly tight race within single digits, and almost $8 million in outside and campaign money has been spent on this race between the Republican nominee, Matt Van Epps, and Democrat Afton Bain. President Trump, who won that district by more than 20 points, has held 2 tele-rallies for Van Epps. I want to bring in our political panel, CBS News political contributor Terry Sullivan, who served as campaign manager Marco Rubio's 2016 presidential campaign. I remember that well. Kendra Barkoff. Lamy, former press secretary to then Vice President Biden. I remember that too. All right. Here's why we obsess about this special election. It doesn't matter if Democrats win or lose. It matters more if they win. But even if they don't win, if the margin is, let's say, 5 to 8 or 9, that means a swing from 22 points to whatever it is, 8 or 9. And if you're a Republican running somewhere else and you see that Democratic margin move in that direction, you are possibly more nervous. True or false, Terry Sullivan?
False, because here we are again.
False, okay.
Here we are again. That trying to shock. Wait a minute, I didn't see this one coming. Here we are again. They're trying to divine what a future election is going to look like by a current election. And it's not just the outlook. Look, if Democrats win this seat, then they should be worried. But if we're talking margins here, like it's going to be tough to see what that really means to project 18 months from now.
You would caution against translating this to any larger context.
Correct. I think it's. Here's what I would caution. I say you can pick up things, learn things from it, but it's not like, oh my gosh, and I feel like the media is going to have a panic.
Kendra, and I know you've been on this side of the ledger. Isn't that what nervous majority parties always say about special elections?
I'm pretty sure that they sent in the Speaker of the House for a reason the Monday after Thanksgiving, because I think they're nervous about what they are seeing in the polls.
Internally polls, because there's not a lot of public polling on this.
Internally, right. Correct. I think that they are nervous. I saw one Republican quote out there that a member from Tennessee, in fact, a Republican, said, I am nervous.
Right.
And that should tell you something.
Yeah, but I do wonder, like, what was the logic, just raw politics here? Why send Johnson in? Was Johnson polling somehow really well in that? Like, does the Speaker of the House poll well in other congressional districts?
They can't. I mean, Trump won't go anywhere right now. And Trump and all the ads for Van Epps do not say anything about Trump. They don't say anything about the Republican Party. They say taking on Washington. Well, who's the power structure in Washington right now?
Well, I understand, but I guess what I'm saying, why did Van Epps bring in Johnson at all? That seems like a little bit perplexing to me. Like, fight against, if you're not an incumbent, you should be against all those bums that are in Congress.
I think he's trying to have it both ways, and I think the fact is that voters are going to the grocery store and are still seeing grocery prices up. They are going and trying to buy things for their Thanksgiving table, and things were more expensive. I see it every day. You see it. You see it. Prices are not down. Inflation is not down enough, and that is what voters are looking at. And they're saying, well, maybe it's time for a change, even in this district.
So the Senate Majority Leader, John Thune, was asked just a couple of hours ago, do you have confidence in Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth? And he said, and I quote, he serves at the pleasure of the president. Terry, that's not a direct answer, is it?
Yeah, look, no, it's not. But he's also been asked that question 15 times in the last 48 hours. Mm-hmm. So you can only say so many. Like, look, it's not his decision, and so what are the answers he can give?
But he has an option of giving him a vote of confidence, yes, and you know that.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that Pete Hegseth is pretty far out on a limb right now, and
justifiably so.
I don't know, because we don't know the facts. We don't know the facts, but from a perception standpoint,
and what the White House has acknowledged and the Pentagon has acknowledged thus far?
I mean, look, they're saying that a former Navy SEAL and commander is
Mitch Bradley, the admiral,
is at fault, and we haven't heard anything more on that. So I think this is one of those things that we're going to get to the bottom of this. Everything now has footage. There is footage of this. There is audio of this. We will know what happens. This is not going to be a secret. So I think it's a little bit of a wait and see.
Virginia Democrat John Warner says, why don't you just release it unedited? Do you think that'd be a good idea?
Well, I don't know that'd be a good idea because we don't know what's on it. And again, like
Mark Warner, I'm sorry, Mark Warner.
No. We don't know what's on it, and just blindly releasing, military operations stuff without unedited may not be, especially if it's the Navy SEALs doing it, may not be a great idea. But I do think that the Senate, look, and there are Republicans in the Senate who say we want to see the tapes.
Right.
And I think that's what we need to wait and see.
Kendra, it was a different era. There was a John Warner in the Senate just a long time ago.
I do remember him.
I'm dating myself, but that happens all the time. I've been around way too long. Your thoughts on where this thing currently is?
I think that people are calling for transparency and they're not seeing it yet. And for a Trump administration to be out there saying we're the most transparent administration in the history of the world, we're not seeing anything.
If only he did as many press conferences as Joe Biden. Oh, wait, never mind.
That is not about transparency.
No, but you can't say that the media does not have access to the President of the United States.
That is different.
He's given
Joe
more
Biden
access.
doesn't yell at the press and demean them and insult them
Doesn't
publicly.
remember their names.
Anyways, back to Pete Hegseth and what we are looking at, I think this is a real problem. I think if the Trump administration really wanted to do the right thing by going after terrorists, narco-terrorists, they should board these boats. They should follow them back to their countries and figure out who is sort of the centralized hub of what they're doing. We know that these drugs are not coming, the fentanyl is not coming from Venezuela, it is coming from Mexico, and they're using this as an excuse.
You get the last word. Terry Sullivan, Kendra, Barkoff, Lamy, thank you very much.